Alright YouTube, I got a quick video for you today. This is going to be of a lesser known work that is very much holding my attention, and I wanted to go ahead and put out the recommendation and give you a quick overview of this book. This is Liber, Khthonia, a contemporary witchcraft and devotional tradition of Hecate. Very nice edition. You can get this written by Jeff Cullen. You can get this off of his website if you just Google this book, or if you want to go on Etsy, which is where I purchased 2 copies of this artist edition for my wife and I to have our own working copies. So the artist edition, if my understanding is correct, has some of these really nice, as you saw back there, some of these really nice images throughout. And you can see here it's the artist edition. So it's got kind of almost like a rubbery feel to it, so it attracts a lot of scuffs and stains, but they wipe off pretty easily if you're kind of OCD about that. If you are somebody who is looking to get into practicing witchcraft or specifically deity worship with Hecate or Pan or some other deities, then this is a very good book. The Hecateon just had its 3rd edition released, I believe it was the end of last year, but it's already becoming hard to find and sold out for a couple months now. So I would honestly probably start with this book while you wait for the next version of the Hecateon to be released, whenever that is, whoever will be publishing it. But this is a very, very good starting point, and it covers a lot of things, from some general information about Hecate, what you can expect to get from her if you want to work with her. It gives you some introduction to witchcraft in general, and then it goes into the history of Hecate. And then it goes into Mask at the Crossroads, who is Hecate, talks about some of her different forms. I'm trying to remember if it's this chapter or the next one. Concept of polytheism and witchcraft in the Mediterranean. Occult titles. Yeah, here we go. So in the Hecateon, there's 27 epithets, different names that you can call Hecate on to invoke a certain type of energy or power, depending what you're trying to do. And it goes into the same concept here, Brimo probably being one of the more common. And you can, of course, combine this with some of the names found in the Hecateon, and maybe even find some new names as your relationship develops with her. Identifying and refining your cults. This is one of the things I wanted to talk about, aside from the reference a couple chapters ago about I think it was worship in the Mediterranean. One thing that is very common about witchcraft, at least from the people I've talked to in my own personal experience, is religion, worship, and prayer they've been hijacked, like most things, from traditional religion. So we kind of, or at least I kind of recoil at those words, but this book kind of has a couple paragraphs about reclaiming what it means to honor the gods, and that it's not something that's just an Abrahamic or Judeo-Christian root. It goes back further, and it's something we need to proudly reclaim. So that's something that I needed to read and hear. Throughout the book, it talks about, this is his own practice, and it's a practice that his family has passed down for a while through many generations, and that it's not a one-size-fits-all. If there's something that you want to change in the practice, you are free to do that. It's all about the results. There's also a section in here where it talks about the tools, some very common tools that we've all heard of if we've studied traditional witchcraft or Sabbatic craft for any amount of time. And while it is true that the power is within us and we don't need the tools necessarily. For most people, it's a lot better to have physical tools to help bridge that gap between the physical and the metaphysical. Not to mention, you can create most of them just with your own items around the house or around your property. So like I said, a lot of really good content throughout the book. You'll find prayers. Again, here's the tools I was just talking about. You'll find prayers. There's a whole section in here for recipes for different tinctures, ointments, incense. Just so much good information about Hecate, and it goes into some of the other names or some of the other gods associated with Hecate, which again is very reminiscent of the Hecateon, which Jack Grail has endorsed this book online a couple places, I believe. So if you're curious about it, this isn't just some random book that popped out of nowhere. It is 100% worth the purchase. Again, I would probably start with this because it walks you through consecrating your altar. If you want to use an idol, which the book recommends for Hecate, how to awaken it so it can actually participate and receive your worship. And then it also talks about creating a vessel which can be used to harness your power. You can also create multiple vessels for different workings. So yeah, there's a lot in this book. I can't believe that it's so well written and it flows so well. Even if you're completely new, you will be able to jump into this book and start practicing. So highly recommend it, and thanks for watching.